guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making some high protein blueberry muffins. I'm super excited to make these with you. First I'll go through the ingredients that I'm going to be using. Some gluten-free baking flour. I have a gluten allergy. If you have a gluten allergy, I highly recommend Bob's Red Mill's 1-to-1. This stuff works great. Anytime I've used it for baking things, everything kind of turns out as a good texture. That's the one tough thing with gluten-free stuff, is the texture tends to be different. So if that's one thing that bothers you, Bob's Red Mill seems to be the closest thing to normal. You're gonna also need some milk. So we're gonna be using the Maple Hill grass-fed organic 2% reduced fat milk. And then for the protein, I'm gonna be using Naked Shake blueberry muffin flavored vegan protein powder. This stuff tastes incredible. If you haven't had it before, I highly recommend giving it a try. You'll also need some baking powder and some baking soda. We're gonna be using a banana, a very, very ripe banana. You'll need 2 eggs. And then also I'm gonna be adding some fresh blueberries into the muffins. So my husband and I are currently living in a travel trailer. We've been traveling full time since May of last year. So it's been a pretty incredible experience, but primarily we've been traveling all throughout Florida. So that kind of makes things difficult as far as when it comes to baking and wanting to cook. The space is very small, so if I can do it in the travel trailer, you can always try to do it at home. The first thing we're gonna do is we are going to be preheating our oven. Here's my oven. It's a convectional microwave oven. We're gonna be preheating that to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. First thing we're gonna wanna do is mash up our extremely ripe banana in our bowl. Once your banana is sufficiently mashed, we're gonna go ahead and we will crack in our 2 eggs. That's a solid egg. There we go. Now before we whisk that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add in a 1/2 cup of our milk. There's 1/2 cup of our milk. So now that we have the milk in there, we're gonna go ahead and whisk that all together. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use a different bowl to be able to mix together our dry ingredients before we add them in with the wet ingredients. For our dry ingredients, we're gonna go ahead and use 1 cup of our gluten-free flour. Now we need 1 teaspoon of our baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of our baking soda. And last but not least, we're gonna add in our protein powder. I will be adding in 2 scoops. That is the serving size for this protein powder. Now I'm just gonna use a fork to lightly mix all the dry ingredients together. And now I'm gonna slowly whisk the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. And I'm just gonna pour a little bit at a time and whisk that in. Now if you notice that the mix is really dry, we can go ahead and add in a little bit more milk, just because different protein powders are gonna react differently to the liquid and thicken up or not thicken up. And this one seems to be pretty thick, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more milk. I'll just add a pinch to start. There we go, it's getting a little bit more doughy, and that's the texture that we want. It's looking pretty good. And last but not least, we're gonna add in some blueberries. Blueberries are rinsed. I'm gonna go ahead and just fold them into the mix here. These blueberries are huge. All right, now it is time to pour our muffin mix into our muffin tray. But first I'm gonna put in some of these baking cups because I've lost muffins to a tray way too many times. Now I'm gonna go ahead and carefully do my best to scoop these in without getting them everywhere. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put these into the oven. Put those in for 15 to 18 minutes, so I'm just gonna do 16. And then we'll see where we are. All right guys, the timer just went off, so let's take a look at our muffins. Here they are, nice and golden brown and delicious. They smell so good and I cannot wait to try them. So once they cool off in a little bit, I'm gonna come back and I will taste test them for you guys. See you in a little bit. All right guys, I'm going to taste test the muffins. Let's see how they turned out. Let's try it. It's delicious. It tastes so good. And the fresh blueberries were the perfect touch. If you like blueberries, make sure you add some fresh ones in because it just adds to the flavor that much more. Oh, it is delicious. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today while I make some high protein blueberry muffins. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also give me a thumbs up on this video. That way you can come back for future high protein meals that I'm gonna be making, and gonna be trying to do some more high protein baking as well. And also there will be some workout stuff on my channel too. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
She wasn't lying. It's good. Tastes like more. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.